Great. So namaste everyone. Good evening. We are on day 3 of this FDP on IKS research and tracing and trying to understand the journey of an IKS researcher from the perspective of our facilitator, resource person expert, Ankur sir. Thank you, sir, for joining us on day 3. And I sincerely hope that there's been important insights and learning for the last 2 days. So just quickly to take you all through the video that was shared by Sir yesterday, in which he is detailing out steps to be followed when we are doing research using indigenous content and indigenous context. So at the beginning of the lecture, Sir has highlighted the importance of indigenous content and indigenous context. And as you reach the end of the lecture, there are 8 steps that are outlined for researchers to begin their journey in indigenous or IKS research. He has given examples and he has situated the entire process in the context of management education, but I believe it applies to all disciplines. So step 1 is sound understanding of existing concepts. Step 2 is exploring critical studies, exploring the existing literature. Step 3 is reading literature, scriptures with indigenous content. Step 4 is contemplation and reflection. Step 5 is discussion. Step 6 is achieving grounding in indigenous phenomena and frameworks. Step 7 is iteration, and step 8 is where you receive the indigenous academic output. So the details of all these 8 steps have been elucidated in the video which Sir shared with us yesterday. So I encourage all of you to go through that video, make notes, because as you know, we are in the process of engaging in reflection, which we will use for discussion and story sharing on the last day. So I request Sir to take forward today's session. Today we are going to discuss about opportunities and challenges in IKS research. And personally, I think this is a very crucial topic because the formalization of NEP and with it IKS has brought in a lot of newer opportunities, unexplored terrains for social sciences and humanities researchers, but these also come with a lot of challenges. So this is an opportunity for us to reflect on the strengths and the challenges of engaging in indigenous research, and I invite all of you to share your reflections on what opportunities you see and what challenges you have faced in your IKS journey. Sir, we can take it forward. I think we can start by addressing Aninditaji's questions pertaining to the video. And there is also, when I opened the video, in the suggestion list, I also saw a video on Shastrarth pertaining to management studies. So I will also share a link of that video in the group. Yeah, let's take it ahead. We are good to go.
Okay. Namaste, Nidhi. Thank you so much. And namaste to all the participants for joining. I understand as the FDP progresses, so there are different challenges in continuing it. But some of you are still here, and that's so encouraging. Many of you are already here. So continuing with the yesterday's discussion and answering the query that was asked about the He Hetu Han Hanopai. So I will share one link of a blog post on my website wherein I have talked about all these four pramad as well as the he, hetu, and han, hanupai. Of course, I will explain it briefly here. So when we talk about the research, we talk about problem statement, we talk about research gap, we talk about research objectives. So fundamentally, many when we enter into the research guides or the supervisors or anybody, they would ask a question: what is your problem statement? So this concept of hey that is mentioned in the Darshan Shastra, it talks about the problem to be solved. So it is similar to the problem statement, not exactly same, but similar to the problem to be solved. Then comes the hetu. Hetu is reason or the root cause behind that problem. So we need to do some iterations and go back to the root cause of the problem that we are saying. So for example, taking example from medical sciences, whenever one person visits a doctor, so the doctor would you would share the symptom that my head is spinning or I have a fever. So over the counter medicine person would directly offer you crocin to relieve from the fever, but a genuine doctor will diagnose it as to what is the root cause behind the fever. So fever is sometimes not the problem, it is the symptom. So similarly, we go to the root cause of the problem in he hetu. That is the root cause of the problem. Because we will have to solve the root cause of the problem uh, to achieve the state of Han. That is the third word, Han, which is a state or phenomena wherein the problem does not exist in that system. So under the context of our research, whatever scenario we have taken, if in that phenomena the problem which we have taken did not exist, then what could be the scenario? So we explain it. And then we come to Hanupai, that is Han plus Upai, the solution or the ways to achieve that state, which we are referring in the third state. So that is the solution. So these are the four broad components in Darshan Shastra. I am sharing a link to a post on my website um, wherein it is explained in detail. And another, there is one video also that I will share a link at the end in which I have explained these four concepts in detail. So I will share that video also.
Anandita ji, I hope that answers your query. Sir, there was another query uh, in the sixth or seventh step. You have mentioned grounding in
Hmm.
indigenous phenomenon. So Anandita ji is asking, are you referring to grounded theory? So in my understanding, you're not referring to grounded theory.
Yes, yes, you are right, Anindita ji. So we are not talking about grounded theory. Grounding in the indigenous phenomena means that we, when we talk about the IKS or Bharati Gyan Parampara or any indigenous system across the world, then it requires certain preparation at the researchers level. Suppose someone wants yesterday, there was a very important question that it is so overwhelming. The knowledge systems, when we try to look at it, it's too overwhelming. So any person who wants to do some genuine research in this domain will have to enter into it. It has an experiential component of learning. So Rajiv Malhotra ji in his book has termed a very important phrase called embodied knowing. That this body, this person mind phenomena. So when we immerse into that phenomena, so it's like an immersion into that culture, into that context, and its ontology. Uh, that is meaning of getting grounded into the indigenous phenomena. So I hope this clears it. Okay. So
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah.
if there are any other questions or observation with respect to uh, the discussions till now, and if you don't have, I have a question to all the participants. If there is anything that in past 2 days, whatever we have discussed, that you feel uh, that you don't agree with, then you feel that it is completely 180-degree to what you feel. So I would be very happy to take or listen to those views that uh, it is not possible, or why are you saying this. So if there are any critical views, that will be great, because our today's discussion comes from will be in that direction on opportunities and challenges. So if there is anyone, feel free to share.
Yes, I think when we take a pause, we can check if there are such views that our participants want to share.
Okay, okay. So till then we can go to the uh, today's slide.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
share.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So today we will be talking about the opportunities and challenges in the IKS research. I mentioned one phrase here, that allowing the tides to take you through the ride. So yesterday we had a brief discussion on that. So when we feel overwhelmed in this research, in this domain, in whatever topic you take, if it unsettles you, if the topic is too overwhelming for you, and you are feeling confused, it's a welcome step. So when at MDI we were doing research, and any research scholar would sit outside the library or anywhere place and looked confused. So one professor, Professor Rajan Gupta ji, he used to say that I am very happy that you are confused, because that shows that your brain is working, that you are trying to understand something. So confusion is very important step to begin these things. So what we need to develop is the resilience, that whenever in the research journey we go through different phases and difficult phases. This is especially for the young scholars who have just entered into the system or on the midway, and people who have already done PhD. So you might be in a phase wherein you don't know what to do research next, how to restart the research, how to publish scopus papers, whatever be the phase. So in the journey, we go through different phases, and it's normal to have difficult phases in the research journey. And now we will talk about some ways to develop that resilience. So there are few Hindi terms here. For the audience who are not comfortable with Hindi, I will explain it. But for certain purpose, I have kept it in English, in Hindi only, because it is related to some terminologies in Hindi. So one phase in the indigenous knowledge research is about knowing the post-colonial theories that we need to know. I mentioned about this in that yesterday's video also, that we need to know. So first thing is the awareness of the post-colonial phenomena or the decolonization research. And then second point comes the acceptance, the need to acknowledge, to appreciate that yes, there is a need to decolonization. Because unless and until we go to that stage and we understand and we accept, we acknowledge, it is very difficult to. proceed. And furthermore, it is important of internalizing it. Once we know that this thing is not right or not wrong, so that knowledge becomes burden. In Sanskrit, there is a phrase which is called as Jnanam Bhara Kriyam Vina. Knowledge becomes burden without action or implementation. So if we are only in the first stage and we are only critiquing the Western part or the colonial part or anything or any Western knowledge, so that only criticizing it won't help. So first we need to, of course, first stage is important because unless and until we have that inner fire to at least question something. So, for example, taking it on a very lighter note, in the society, we see that in our country, many people put that tie, and this the neck tie that we put is a recent phenomena of past 200 years when the British people came and they through that culture we started wearing tie. Now, last 2 years, 2 years ago in Spain, there was a heat wave, and their prime minister asked the people to, since that is a heat wave time, and the temperature has gone up to 38 degrees Celsius. So for them, because they are in colder regions, so 38 degree is very high, and they said we should remove the ties and don't wear the tie. It is not necessary. It is too dangerous to wear the tie in these temperatures. Prime Minister said it. Now we in our country, in some places, I am currently in Rajasthan, the temperature goes to 47, 48, 49, and we keep on wearing tie. So we know that it is not suitable, but still we are not able to decolonize. So that is the danger of post-colonial uh, system or post-colonial approach if the second and third stages are not implemented. So the first part or the post-colonial part, the knowing part is the first stage. More important is the need for decolonization, and further important is the internalizing, or what that was talked about in grounding into the indigenous phenomena. So that is the third part. So uh, that is the process which we need to follow. Second thing, uh, many people have a notion or a myth or an assumption that in our culture we cannot ask questions, that how to be inquisitive. So our culture stops us from asking questions. This is a myth or a or what should some misunderstanding is there, that our culture never stops us from being curious, from asking questions. The whole Upanishad, all are based on the queries or curiosity of a person, and he or she is asking to a revered guru or rishi muni, and they are answering it. Whole Bhagavad Gita is in form of a dialogue, more importantly, where Arjun keeps on asking question to Bhagwan Krishna and he keeps on responding. And he talks in that, like, I'm not able to understand this. Please explain this. Continuously, he keeps on asking and see the scenario. They are on the battlefield. And Arjun is asking all kinds of questions and Bhagwan Krishna is responding to it. Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puran, wherever Upanishad, there are so many questions and it's full of curiosity, inquisitiveness. Yes, there is a certain level of maryada or a limitation wherein the the question should be asked in a manner not to denigrate someone, not to demean someone, not to have not to just criticize. So that doubt, suspicion, doubting the authority or the knowledge of the person, and in a derogatory way. So and discarding that. So that is something which our culture uh, suggests us to avoid it, because that from that point of view knowledge cannot happen. For example, say suppose this is 1903 and a person comes. I have seen two young people and they had devised any system and the vehicle was flying in the sky. So he saw Wright brothers with their experiment and flying in the sky. The plane was flying. Now he comes to me and says, I have seen this. Now my response can be in two ways. One could be I say, no, no, this is not possible. You get out. So one is this is discarding outrightly, denigrate. Second option could be, oh, uh, I would like to see it through my eyes. Oh, is it really possible? I want to see it. So this is a curiosity. So you're not discarding the person who is giving you knowledge. So this distinction can be very, very useful in IKS research. And many people face problems because this distinction is not known. In Bhagavad Gita, there is beautiful shlok in chapter 4 wherein Bhagwan Krishna says how to get your queries answered. And the shlok says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Which means you go to the people who are experienced, who are knowledgeable, uh, and respectfully give them respectfully ask the questions and then they will address your queries. So it is very, very clearly mentioned about the epistemology part, that how to know something from a person who is more knowledgeable than us. So there are so many things wherein the shraddha or the faith on the source of knowledge is very essential for the knowledge to happen. So once that is there, the there is no foundation. Swami Vivekananda ji also mentioned that whenever any person wants to know anything from for nature, then he said that the person should knock the doors of the nature with full intensity and full faith, and the nature will reveal all the knowledge to him or her. So it is about that faith on own self as well as on the source of knowledge. So before going to the next part, I will quickly take a small pause and to have any queries or questions or any observation, then I'll go to the next part of PPT.
Anybody with any questions, reflections, comments? Sir, if you can suggest, could be some initial readings that one could take up for getting initiated into decolonization studies. I could think of Sri J. Sai Deepak ji's work and also Professor S.N. Balagangadhara's work. These are two scholars I have been exposed to through their readings. But if you could suggest some readings, that would be helpful.
Yes, there are many good books, research articles, and videos. I will share the list with you, and based on the interest of the person, uh, each one of you can take up. For example, if someone is interested in so work on decolonization has also multiple dimensions. So like there's one great person in West, Wendrad Elst. So he has worked on decolonizing the Hindu mind. So that is very interesting book. This it's the name of a book. I'll provide all the list. Decolonizing the Hindu mind. Rajiv
Yes.
Malhotra ji's work on being different. So
Hmm.
that is also very nice book on decolonization. There is one handbook by Oxford that is on decolonization and indigenous research methodologies. So there is one lady in New Zealand, Linda Smith, Linda
Yes.
Tuivai Smith. So from New Zealand's Maori culture. She has worked a lot on decolonization.
Correct.
Professor C.K. Raju, in the domain of mathematics, he has worked a lot on decolonization. There is one person in Goa, Claude Alvarez. So he has compiled a lot of work of Professor Dharampal, who was a Gandhian scholar, and they have published the compositions of Professor Dharampal ji's work, and that is also there. So there are Prasad, there are two husband wife Prasad. I am forgetting the initial part. They have a son named Prasad. So they have worked on decolonization. So I will share all these readings with you.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's a question in the chat box by
Ah,
Sudhi Gupta ji.
yes, I'll take it up. Does the concept of Nishkam Karma in Bhagavad Gita reflect the epistemological and ethical foundation of IKS? Yes, Sudhi ji. So the idea of Nishkam Karma can be related to any component of our life because uh, that is an in general. So whether we are studying it or whether we are in form of any action that is applicable, but to see it from the uh, ethical foundations or epistemological foundation, more important work from Bhagavad Gita is about the Shraddha or faith on uh, the system. And second, the shlok that I mentioned a few minutes ago. And second part is from the chapter 13, wherein the discussion there is on gear. So the human body, it is called as Kshetra, and the Atma is known as Kshetragya. So the knower. So from that part, epistemological discussions can more flow. Uh, I, Punit Billish ji and I, we developed a interesting slide on epistemology and ontology from Bhagavad Gita. So I'll bring that slide into discussion tomorrow, or if I'll try, if it is readily available with me right now, I will check it, else I will discuss that tomorrow. So it has the component. I'll note it.
Thank you, Sudhi ji, for your question. We have one more question from yes, Harsha ji sir will be sharing the names of the authors and the books.
Uh,
He has already shared some reading material with me. So I'll be putting it up in the chat box towards the end of this session. So yeah, don't
yes.
worry.
So
Uh,
Saloni ji, I think, has a question that
yes.
what is the major difference between the approaches in pre-colonial era and post-colonial era, and how does it impact the relevance of it? Yeah. So what happens is uh, the the knowledge systems also have a deep impact of the cultural components. So the process of see, epistemology is about ways of knowing, and if an ontology is about the phenomena in general. So the colonial intervention, especially after 1830s, till 1830s, the colonial intervention did not interfere with our education system much and our cultural system much. It was more of a political and economic fight. But post 1830s, you would have seen the work of Macaulay. Then the colonial system entered into our education as well as our culture. Now, what happens is that the ways of knowing get changed. The ontology changes. For example, uh, now we are very much talking about Indian knowledge systems, etc. Imagine a few years ago when we were working on this, or 20, 30 years ago when people who are pioneer in this domain, they were working. So they used to face a lot of resistance at Vanasthali Vidyapeeth in 1996 when our university started the management education, and we were working on Indian knowledge systems, Indian management. So many people used to laugh at us. Oh, you are talking about Indian management. Oh, it is just like Indian standard time, which is always backworthy. It is of no worth. So this ontological assumptions about the superiority of scientific knowledge, these assumptions about the superiority of science enters into the system. And today also, you might have been seeing, you might have been facing this, that the definition of science has become too sacred for us. The definition of science has brainwashed a lot number of people. So science has become a religion which you cannot question, and it is one of the most dangerous religions of the world because it cannot accept any alternate view. So, so that in that system entered into our system, and there is in fact very interesting word when I talk about science. I'm not talking about Vigyan because Vigyan is way beyond that science. And in fact, there was one case in Supreme Court wherein Supreme Court even acknowledged that yes, there is difference between science and Vigyan. Today, I don't think we have that much time to discuss about it. I'll share that judgment also, as well as few things on difference between science and Vigyan. Just to say in few words, I would say there's one Bollywood movie, very interesting dialogue is there. कि जहाँ लोग सोचना बंद करते हैं मैं वहाँ सोचना शुरू करता हूँ. So that taking that dialogue, I'll take the example where the science ends, the Vigyan starts. And um, uh, uh, very interesting definition of Vigyan is there in Bhagavad Gita. I will share that slok also in chapter 7 and chapter 9. So one chapter is name is Gyan Vigyan Yog, wherein Bhagwan has mentioned, Krishna has mentioned about uh, uh, the definition of Vigyan, and it incorporates the concepts which are beyond science today. So this is just an example of how the colonial intervention has disrupted the epistemology and ontology, thereby research philosophy, and therefore the research methodology as well as the methods. So we are in a trap now. We are trying to understand the Indian knowledge systems through Western scientific methods, and it is like capturing the colorful, beautiful 3D reality through a monochrome 2D camera. So this is the implication of so very interesting question, Saloni ji. We could capture so many things with that.
Yeah. I think we can take the remaining comments and questions once Sir finishes his presentation. So I can see a few comments and questions, but Sir, I think let's take it towards the end now.
All right, all right. So I have just one slide left, so we can finish it in 2-3 minutes, and then we'll come back to it.
Sure.
Okay. So this was a discussion on first day also, and I mentioned that we will be coming to it in the next few sessions. So when we work in this domain, it is very natural to experience the setbacks, rejections, and getting cancelled. People will call you names, and it is more. It used to be a very serious phenomena few years ago. Although when the UGC and the AICET and NEP has pushed the Bharati knowledge systems, so it has toned down a bit. But talking about this is still a very a phenomena wherein people may not like you many times. and some beautiful adjectives will be there: unscientific, regressive, orthodox, jingoist, and buck, and whatever what not. All the packages of the social media will be thrown onto you. All kinds of assumptions will be flowing towards you. All kinds of other experience that people have with others, they may come to you. So, um, the perspective of Western scholars would also be used against you. So, political scenario enters into the system. But the most important thing is, or if you allow all these things to happen to you, and you don't surrender, then you will emerge victorious, and that is for sure. Because the the shallowness with which the people criticize will be overpowered naturally by the depth of knowledge that will come from your side when you enter into the Bharati knowledge systems thoroughly. So there was very interesting example. One of my very senior person shared that there was a convocation address, and the speaker started speaking in English, and some people at back they resisted it that you should say in Hindi. So the speaker took a pause for 2 minutes, for just a few minutes, and then the remaining convocation address was delivered by him or her in Sanskrit. So so it is like bringing that force of knowledge, of wisdom, of the intellect, and all this surface criticism will die on their own, because you will be able to go beyond it. But in the initial part, it will disturb you. For few days, you may not feel happy, you may feel dejected, but let that phase pass on, and face it. So, for example, I'll not name, but I'll share an example. So, what person once someone said that you should not do this. Then I said that the institute in which I was doing research at MDI Gurgaon, so they said that you are trying, this is a secular country and you should not try to bring in all these elements, etc. And this is not the way. So I said to him that this institute itself has a motto. So our MDI's motto was there, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. And I said that it is there on the university, on the institute's logo, and it is from Bhagavad Gita. Then person said, no, it is not from Bhagavad Gita. I said chapter number 2, shlok number 50. And then that person never returned. So this is the shallowness of criticism, they die on their own. With the strong logic, referencing, and even after that, if someone criticizes you, then you can allow him or her, because they are not pursuing the research in genuine way. Because even if after your references they are not satisfied, even after your logic they are not satisfied, so they will not. So it is, and every human being has emotions, feelings, and their livelihood involved into it. So many people are truly against Indian knowledge systems because it makes them too uncomfortable. So all those things we will have to face. So there are many opportunities and there are many challenges also. Many journals would reject your paper outrightly. They would ask to do so many changes, etc. But resistance and resilience can be developed. And another thing is that we are very fortunate that in last 30 years or so, many great scholars like Professor Bhavuk from University of Hawaii, Professor Sharda Nandram from Netherlands, Professor Rajan Gupta. There are so many people who have worked for us. They have created literature, they have published papers, and we can take the reference and base to build upon their work. So that is the way to overcome such challenges. So this is from my side in terms of the presentation part, and when we will take up the remaining questions, I think in that flow many things more will come. So
Correct. Yes,
that,
absolutely. So, as Sir discussed, there will be many challenges that one will have to encounter while pursuing IKS research, but there is also a window of opportunities open, because as far as IKS is concerned, so many topics are unexplored. There is lack of research in so many areas, especially uh, doing research and presenting it in the formal way. So this leaves us with a lot of opportunities where, based on our own interests and our own disciplinary affiliations, we can start thinking about what area of research, what topic of research are we interested in, what could be our problem statement, our ontological, epistemological position, what would be our methodological choices. All of this then will come across to us in a flow of thoughts. So we'll be taking a few more questions from the chat box to carry forward this discussion. Sir, in continuation to the response that you have shared about the disruption caused in our cultural and educational system because of colonization, there is a question about neocolonialism. And Dr. Deepa Madam is saying, when we talk about post-colonialism and decolonization, there is the concept of neocolonialism that acts in a subtle way in the field of education, and it also infiltrates into our cultures. So what are your thoughts on this?
yes, yes. So when we talk about this colonial part, neo-colonialism, so uh, it is not a static thing that has happened, say, 100 or 200 years ago. It continues to happen because human nature to dominate others is very natural phenomena for many people across the world and many people. So whosoever wants to rule would try to capture the minds of other people. So like in past, people were used to put in jails or karagar. So today time is not to put them behind the bars, but colonizing the mind. So, and education as a tool for reinforcing this idea has seen unprecedented growth. And there is one very interesting book by John Taylor Gatto. Uh, he was a school teacher in USA, and he has written a book on schooling and how the schooling in USA was changed under the Persian influence. So I'm just forgetting the name of the book. Yeah, I'll just check and uh, share. Uh, Weapons of Mass Instruction. Very interesting book, Weapons of Mass Instruction by John Taylor Gatto. And he shares how the education system in USA till 1850s was very decentralized. There were 135,000 independent boards which were operated by the communities. So it was almost similar to the Gurukul that we had in our country. And under the Prussian system, the Prussian Russian system, Prussian army system was introduced in schools in Britain and USA. So many times we critique British for the current education system, but it was not their own. It was the Prussian system imported into Britain and USA, and then came to our country. And he talks about the way how that uh, system influenced the current education system. So it is very true. It's still going on. It happens uh, and and daily, in fact. So there is, and of course, the cultural influence. We don't have much time to talk about those things, but it influences the culture. It influences our family styles, our education, our corporate culture. See, you might have seen in the corporate, we have very typical uh, furnitures and the buildings. They are gray, white, and blue, in the shades of gray, white, and blue. Now, this is the American corporation system which we imported, and now they have shifted to the colorful system. You see the offices of Google, they are so colorful, they are so lively, and our culture was so lively and colorful, and we are reducing it to gray, white, and blue. So you can take any example, any component, and see the impact of this infiltration or whatever we want to call it. So there's another question, I think. हाँ, उमेश तिवारी जी, हाँ, इस पुस्तक में जैसा मैंने कहा था कि निधि जी को मैं कुछ किताबों का वो लिस्ट शेयर कर दूंगा, उसमें हिंदी में भी जो होगी उसको मैं शेयर कर दूंगा. आई विल डू दैट. अमित जी,
ये बात मैंने इसलिए कही क्योंकि बेसिकली इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम इज अ सिस्टम, और हिंदी में भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा एक जीवन जीने का एक तरीका है. तो जब उसमें, तो अगर हमें कोई हिंदी में मिले तो शायद हमको लगता है कि हम इस ज्ञान परंपरा से ज़्यादा लाभान्वित हो सकते हैं इन कंपेरिजन टू इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम. बिकॉज इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम एज वी हैव अंडरस्टूड सो फार फ्रॉम NEP 2020, NEP 2020, that some books have been written in English. So what the knowledge we want to gain, basically we have not gone through. That's why I have asked to tell about the Hindi version or Sanskrit version, sir.
Right, right.
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल. मैं आपको बिल्कुल लिस्ट भेज दूंगा. कुछ है, जैसे कुछ किताबें हैं जीवनचर्या विज्ञान पर है, भारतीय, बहुत सारी किताबें, तो मैं लिस्ट भेज दूंगा. बिल्कुल.
यस, ये बिल्कुल सही बात कही है आपने उमेश जी. कई बार ये थोड़ा सा डाइकोटमी.
निधि जी, एक और बात मैं आपसे उम्मीद इसलिए करता हूँ क्योंकि मैंने आपके अभी तक जितने भी अभी बीच बीच में आपकी एफडीजीज हुई हैं, तो उनमें आपका जो वर्जन ऑफ एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो बहुत अच्छा है. यद्यप मैंने और भी लोगों का सुना है, तो आप कितने सलीके से कहते हो और नई खोज में रहते हो, इसलिए मैंने ये बात अपनी कही है. आप
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल उमेश जी, आपने ये हमारे साथ शेयर किया है, बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, महत्व का है. और जैसे मैंने कहा, कई बार ये डाइकोटमी हम खुद फेस कर रहे हैं IKS में, जब हम पढ़ने की कोशिश करते हैं, रिसर्च करने का प्रयत्न करते हैं कि हम अपनी ही ज्ञान परंपरा को एक फॉरेन भाषा में हम पढ़ रहे हैं. सो दैट समटाइम्स इट बिकम्स अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ डिसोनेंस. वो थोड़ा डिसोनेंस क्रिएट करता है. और सर हमारे साथ हैं तो वो हमें हिंदी की पुस्तकों का रेफरेंस जरूर देंगे. डेफिनेटली वी विल डू इट. देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन बाय अमित वर्मा जी. सर, गीता जी ऑफ विच पब्लिकेशन? ये क्वेश्चन सर कई बार पूछे हैं हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स FDP के भगवत गीता का कौन सा वर्जन, कौन सा ट्रांसलेशन, किस पब्लिकेशन से पढ़ सकते हैं ऑथेंटिक?
हाँ, so you can read any version. There are many publishers who have published a good work. So I generally try to prefer books by Gita Press for two reasons. One is till now in my life, I have seen the only publication house to not have the copyright symbol on their books. There may be others, but I haven't figured out any publication house without the copyright book. Second is they are written in very light conversational tone, because most of the books are based on the lectures or the public lectures which were delivered by the sadhu sant like Jai Dayal Goenka ji, Swami Ram Das ji Maharaj. So they are in a very simple conversational tone, which makes things very easy. Second is IIT Kanpur has done a wonderful compilation of there is one site called this Gita Super Site iitk.in. I'll share the link of that. So you can just search Gita Super Site and you will find that they have compiled various translations, interpretations in many languages of various authors. So you can have the composite view there if you want to have. So that is also possible. But starting with Bhagavad Gita Press books will be very easy for you to understand if you are very new to it. And then you can expand as per your interest.
Yes, thank you, sir, for that response. I hope the question was answered, Amit ji. So next we can take Vandana ji's question, how to integrate all thoughts for research, writing and model building out of readings and learnings from any Upanishad.
Yes. So very good question, Vandana ji. So there is one good research paper by Professor Bhavuk that was in 2010. And he has developed the methodology for doing this type of research. So I will share the link to that paper also. Uh, so there he has talked about methods. So first I will answer it about that in brief from how model building can be done. So first thing is when we read the Upanishad, etc. So we will have to think from those stories, what are the essence that can be drawn out of it in form of any models, in form of any processes, or some, it can be linear logic, it can be non-linear, it can be circular, it can be iterative. So we will have to explore how things are there. Is it a cause-effect relationship? Is it one factor which is related to six other factors? So that lens you can develop slowly when you read certain works in that manner. So like say I'll take an example. So in there is in Sundarkand there comes uh, काम क्रोध लोभ मोह सब नाथ नरक के पंथ. Now when we see that these are six components which takes the person to the wrong side. So what is the alternate way? So you will come to another shlok wherein the alternate path will be mentioned. So from those shlok or chopai or any scriptures, Vedic Richa, we will have to read it once or twice to identify what kind of patterns are emerging out of it. So pattern development, if you are able to do, you will be able to draw models and theories from the scriptures very easily. So pattern identification, if it starts happening to you, you will be able to develop those models.
Yes, and I think pattern identification is extremely crucial to qualitative research as we understand it in the modern sense. You conduct any kind of qualitative research, you are ultimately trying to decipher similarities, differences, common patterns if you're looking at textual content, if you're looking at visual content. So somewhere we can use indigenous resources, IKS resources, and use these modern day research methodologies. And there's a question by Dr. Prem Singh sir, which I would like to take next. And just to draw attention to, I have shared 3 links that were shared by sir. You can see I've pinned the message. Please copy paste these 3 links that he has shared. I will also subsequently put it in the WhatsApp group. And there's a book suggestion by Saloni ji, Neo-Colonialism, The Last Stage of Imperialism by Kwame Nkrumah. So yeah, please check it out. So the question by Dr. Prem Singh,
Yes.
how can we relate Indian knowledge system with modern research methodologies? Are there some tools to relate? In fact, I'm just taken back to a lecture that I'd already mentioned in the first session by Dr. Kapil Bhattacharya. He had delivered a lecture on our platform on the Bharatiya research tradition. And if all of you do have a chance, I encourage all of you to just go through that lecture. It's on YouTube. उसमें उन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से ये कनेक्शन बताया है. How, yes, first build the foundation for Bharatiya research methods, and towards the end of the lecture, he has kind of tried to share how these can be related to the modern research methodology. So, for example, he says taram, that is the identification of the problem. Sutaram, it is a review of literature. Tartaram, it is hypothesis formulation, data collection, data analysis. There is Ramyakah, which is preliminary sharing and discussion of research findings. And then there is Sadamuditam, which is presentation and dissemination of your research. So just check his lecture. Yeah, sir, I leave the response to you.
Yes, so you have very nicely talked about it, the integration of Bharatiya systems. Dr. Premji, just one thing I would like to add here is that the existing Western research which are available, Western research methodologies which are available, I am refraining it from using the word modern because they are Western. Modern belongs there. We also have modern research methodology. So assuming that your question is related to the Western research methodologies, so this relationship can happen very naturally. So as we talked about the positivist approach, the interpretivist approach, so they have deep connections with the Praman Shastra. And in fact, in West also, when there was the war between science and religion, the science and Christianity, so many things were discarded which were there in the Christianity also, and similar things we have here. So just we can find certain elements, as I was mentioning, that Shabda Praman. So they also have a concept of verbal testimony, and there are things which can be related. So many scientific research methodologies discard the Shabda Praman. However, you will see this whole concept of literature review, that peer reviewed literature that is almost similar to the Shabda Praman. Although, so there can be points of collaboration there wherein you can find the instances wherein they link with each other. So tools to relate is that depends on the research that you are doing. So when you just like we do mixed method research, qualitative and quantitative, we try to integrate it. So Western research and indigenous research both can be integrated, and you can work on that.
Thank you, sir, for your response. I think there was a question by Ankush ji. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah, Ankush ji, so you can implement Gita very naturally. You just start reading it, and once you start reading it, it will automatically start guiding you. And every time you will read it, you will find something new to implement it. The easier step for many people is, which I find very comfortable, is I take one point at a time and then try to incorporate it, and till the time it gets established, it gets fixated into my system, I take the another point. So take small steps at a time and start with one thing. So take any shloka of Bhagavad Gita and just try to work on it, and naturally it will happen to you. So sometimes it is even one shlok or half of a shlok or one fourth of a shlok uh, has full potential to change your life. So you just take any one fourth of a shlok and try to work on it. It will work naturally for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Vandana ji, I will check the links. Please allow me some time to check the links. If I am able to download the full text PDFs, I will share it in the WhatsApp group. Meanwhile, you can copy paste these links for your reference. And since we have time for one more question, if anybody has, I think in terms of opportunities in IKS research, one tangible thing that we can see around us is that right now institutions, especially government institutions, are encouraging research in IKS. So if you have access to resources, especially the website of the IKS division, Ministry of Education, Government of India, they offer a lot of opportunities to undertake internships, to do projects. To recently, they had a call for postdoctoral fellowships for writing textbooks, so you can explore that. And of course, there are many organizations which are not affiliated with the government. In independent capacity, they are working to promote and encourage IKS research. So, for example, Indic Academy, Brihat, and many others. In our own IKS FDPs, every day we share some web resources which faculty can refer to, faculty can utilize for exploring their own IKS research journey. So once you are exposed to these opportunities, you will find a way for yourself. I strongly believe that in IKS, you discover your own way, you make your own path. Of course, with a mentor and facilitator like Ankur sir, we have guidance, we have support, but ultimately we have to make our own path in this journey. Yes, any question from anyone? Okay, anybody? We still have a minute. Okay, in case there are no more questions, let's call it a day. And again, thank you, sir, for this lecture. I'll just stop the recording meanwhile.